Mark Rogers, TV, talking college football with some instant analysis of the Buckeyes win over the Badgers 27-21 to win the Big Ten championship. And before I proceed, if you're catching us for the first time or if you've watched a few videos, want to let you know that if you love college football, you got to join me here on Mark Rogers TV. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. We deliver right here. It's just not analysis from myself, but we bring on top analysts from the industry. Peter Burns, the SEC Network. Jerry DiNardo's been on from the Big Ten Network. Phil Steele as well. Tons of guests coming up over the next few weeks. A lot of bloggers and broadcasters that you may not know, but deliver insight from platforms like SB Nation and others. All right, that's my plug. Please join me right here for college football analysis, and I try to get to as many comments as possible. Buckeyes defeat the Badgers 27-21. At some point during the game, I tweeted out in looking at the recruiting rankings over the four classes represented on each roster that the average recruiting ranking for the Ohio State roster was 3.75, meaning that they had the third best recruiting class overall during those 4 years. For Wisconsin, 39. Kudos to the Badgers, like Michigan State, being competitive with the likes of some of the best teams in the country, despite the lack of sheer talent they develop at Wisconsin, almost like no one else in college football. But the Buckeyes, talent and speed, persevered here, 27-21. But the mistakes almost cost Ohio State. Of course, Ohio State scored the first touchdown of the game. Denzel Ward, who is one of the best cover corners in college football, with an interception, a tremendous catch. Terry McLaurin burned the safety, got deep, and caught the touchdown pass to make it 7-0 Ohio State. 84 yards from J.T. Barrett, who was 12 of 26, I believe, on the day for a very productive 211 yards, but he had two very bad picks on the day as well. Paris Campbell got loose. He's a track star for Ohio State on the slip screen 50. It wasn't a slip screen. It was basically a standard screen with two blockers in front. He split the two blocking assignments, shot up the middle. Really not a missed tackle because the blocks were so well blocked. 57 yards for Paris Campbell. And the Buckeyes led it 14-7 after J.T. Barrett threw the pick six to Andrew Van Ginkel Van Ginkel, who had two huge plays in this game for the Wisconsin Badgers. J.K. Dobbins ripped off a 77-yard touchdown, a guy that the Buckeyes need to get more involved, and I know that he carries a pretty substantial load. Other games, he disappears. In this one, 17 carries for $174 for J.K. Dobbins, one of the most explosive backs, just a true freshman for Ohio State. After Mike Weber fumbled in the second half to set up a score for the Badgers, it was all J.K. Dobbins. We saw Weber, who had 1,000 yards as a freshman last year and a number of recent explosive games for over 100 yards against the likes of Michigan State in particular, run just 4 times for 6 yards. Ohio State defensively, Jonathan Taylor has rushed against everyone that they have met. And yes, there have been whole shot in recent weeks against Iowa by the national media and by social media. But let's not mistake, Iowa's ground defense in the front seven is exceptional. Jonathan Taylor ripped through them. Michigan has an elite defense. Jonathan Taylor wore them down in the fourth quarter, as did the offensive line, for over 160 yards rushing. Actually, 19 carries for $132 off the top of my head. Jonathan Taylor could not run against this Ohio State defense. 15 rushes for 41 yards. The Badgers averaged under 2 yards per carry in this game. Alex Hornibrook and Ohio State mistakes kept the Badgers in the game. There were a couple times it looked as though Ohio State in dominant fashion would run away from Wisconsin. It got out to a 21-7 lead. Ohio State was outgaining Wisconsin almost 2-1. But Alex Hornibrook on a 19 for 40 day, 219 yards. When he looks good, he looks extremely good and delivers the ball to guys like Troy Fumagalli, who had 5 catches for 45 yards on the day. Danny Davis also made some exceptional plays, and that was one of the more fun matchups to watch was Davis on Denzel Ward. Danny Davis had 3 catches for 58 yards as well on the day. So with the pick 6 and also a touchdown drive by the offense, but more so from another JT Barrett mistake, a clumsily thrown ball in which he was rolling to his right, was being pressured, just wanted to get the ball out of his hand and threw it behind Marcus Ball, the tight end. That was tipped up in the air and picked off by Leon Jacobs. This is when Ohio State's lead got very precarious. This is with about 14 minutes left in the game, and Wisconsin scored. At that point, got the 2-point conversion, and it was 24-21. Buckeyes got it back. They drove it all the way down the field. So great response by Ohio State to drive the length of the field down 20 or up 24-21 with Wisconsin threatening, drove it all the way down the field. A lot of Barrett running and J.K. Dobbins with some runs as well against one of the better run defenses in college football. I know they're statistically number 1, but certainly practically one of the best in college football. But on a 3rd and 5 at the Wisconsin 8, about 8 minutes left to play, Ohio State could have scored the touchdown that really would have sealed it, most likely. I was thinking that they should go for the field goal once it got to 4th down. But on 3rd and 5, running J.K. Dobbins right up the middle against that Wisconsin defense was not the way to go. He's a strong kid for a true freshman, but that's not his calling card, trying to make 5 tough yards against a Wisconsin rush defense that good. Ohio State stopped Wisconsin. They got the ball back with about 3 minutes left. They could have sealed the game, even though Wisconsin was in good shape with 3 timeouts. Ohio State got to a 3rd and 5. Do you run it? Take some time off the clock, most likely get stopped, punt it away, or do you take the gamble, throw it, possibly pick up a 1st down? The Buckeyes would have needed 2 to completely seal the game. Well, Ohio State put the game in their seniors' hands, their captain, who has started now for 4 years, for the most part of 4 years. And JT Barrett threw an awful ball. Yes, he was pressured. There was a blitz from Wisconsin, but he couldn't get the outlet pass to J.K. Dobbins, who was wide open for the 1st down and possibly could have taken the ball for 40 or 50 yards. And so Ohio State had to punt. Yes, the quarterback, Alex Hornibrook, on the final Wisconsin possession made some excellent throws under pressure, considering Nick Bosa, Sam Hubbard, and the like, one of the best pass rushing units in college football. Hornibrook delivered 3 throws that were exceptional. But a holding call was critical to push Wisconsin back to a 1st and 20. And then getting behind the sticks there against that pass rush, Hornibrook had no shot, and the Buckeyes seal up the win 27-21. Okay, what's impressive about this Ohio State team is the pass rush and the defensive presence and statistics, and just to watch them against the run. We saw it against Penn State and Saquon Barkley when they held Barkley to 44 yards on the ground on 21 carries. And in Barkley's last 9 attempts, negative 17 yards. They did it against Jonathan Taylor. Rush defense, very solid. Pass rush, I don't want to say exceptional because they should be better than they actually are based on the talent that they have. Okay, Ohio State defensively getting better in man-to-man coverage at the corner positions, and Denzel Ward, one of the best in the business. But losing tight ends and fullbacks out of the backfield, and Fumagalli actually in catching 5 passes could have caught a couple more if they would have been delivered better, where he was wide open. So Ohio State continues to struggle on the second level in keeping up with running backs, specifically fullbacks, for those teams that are out there with fullbacks and tight ends. Offensively, Ohio State's offensive line doing a better job. When they block it, play well, they block it well. Look at how many long runs Weber and Dobbins have had this year that were just through the first level and gone. JT Barrett's a capable player. He's not explosive in the run game, and obviously now with knee surgery, that's taken a portion of his explosiveness, and I hate to call it explosiveness. I said during the game to someone, JT Barrett's never been explosive, but he is a fluid runner and a fairly fast quarterback, and somewhat of a threat out of the backfield to break, contain, and keep the defense honest. What Ohio State needs is a playmaker on the outside to emerge. Yes, we see Paris Campbell, Austin Mack, KJ Hill. They're nice receivers. They make the plays when they're open. They need to be able to outfight defensive backs for the football and make hands catches that we see other receivers on other teams making. So Ohio State, plus is the offensive line, plus is the leadership and most of the playmaking ability at quarterback. A big plus is at running back. Wide receivers, yes, they're talented, but they don't make the difficult catches. And JT Barrett made two awful mistakes in this game. Again, the defense could be elite, but they need to clean up the pass coverage against backs and against tight ends. And that's what Ohio State will have to do if they make the playoffs. We shall see if Ohio State passes the beauty test, because that's what it's come down to against Alabama. I have made my case for the Buckeyes based on conference championship and better wins, but I certainly understand the Alabama argument. I made the same argument for Penn State last year over Ohio State. All right, would love to hear from you on Ohio State's Big Ten championship win. Badger fans certainly talk about Wisconsin. I was impressed with her performance for the most part, but this Wisconsin team is pretty much what we see most seasons from Wisconsin. They're one of the 10 best teams in the country, something in that range, but not quite elite. All right, let's talk it up right here on Mark Rogers TV, and we appreciate your time and joining our community here in talking college football.